A season that's about to get underway here, the WNBA. This feels like the most anticipated WNBA season of all time, which sounds crazy to say, but it's absolutely real. When you look at the ratings coming off this WNBA draft, and a big reason behind that is Caitlin Clark, who will make her debut with the Indiana Fever. We're seeing across the board all these WNBA teams, not just the Fever, my Dallas Wings, they've sold out all their season tickets as well for the first time in franchise history. There is a sense of this is the W's moment to get over the hump and enter the mainstream.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in that assessment?
No, I think you're right, and I think that's what everyone is anticipating. And even you look at the Fever, I believe they have 36 nationally televised games this year, which leaves only 4 of them that aren't. So they were anticipating this. They have sold so many preseason tickets already for those games, and even teams that the Indiana Fever is going up against, like the Phoenix Mercury, where Diana Taurasi plays, they have already moved that game to a different arena and have already started branding it as the GOAT versus the Rook. So there's all of these storylines and different things happening. What I've always said for the success of pretty much any sport, and the women's basketball in the WNBA is just exemplifying this, is star players and rivalries. And that's what we're seeing. We saw it in the college game, and I think we're going to see it in the WNBA. I'm a little bit nervous for Caitlin Clark, although I probably shouldn't be, but I am, because there's so much pressure on her. And I think that there's a lot of new WNBA fans who don't know much about the WNBA or basketball in general, to be fair, because I've seen their tweets. And so to anticipate that she is going to come in her first game and put up 30 and put up those kind of numbers and lead the game like she did in college, she could do that. Is it me as a basketball player and knowing the WNBA and how college and the different speeds of the games and physicality, do I think that she's going to do that? No. And I hope that if it takes her a few games, if it takes her a whole season to transition and get to that point where she feels comfortable playing in the WNBA, I hope that doesn't make it so there's any less hype around the game. And I hope that with her, fans are able to see her play, find other stars.
Aaliyah Boston,
right,
on that Fever team. Them running the pick and roll together is going to be a sight to behold. It's going to be incredible.
There's so many great players who just haven't gotten the media attention and the social media attention that Caitlin Clark has had. But I think that she could be, this player we talk about, the Magic Johnson-Larry Bird rivalry when they elevated the game in the 80s. And then we talk about Michael Jordan. It was these superstars that really elevated the NBA. And I think she has the possibility to do that, not only to get more viewership, but to get the girls paid more. To get more excitement around it, to expand the league. So it's a really exciting time. And I don't have predictions on how she's going to play right off the bat, though. I don't know. But I do think she seems like a workhorse. She doesn't seem scared of anyone. But I also know that there's a lot of veteran WNBA players who are going to put her on her ass.
Oh, they're
immediately.
Immediately.
And that's something that happens not only in women's sports, it happens in men's sports too. But I think there's been a focus on it because, again, I think a lot of these new basketball fans are like, oh my gosh, women not being so nice to women. You should be nicer. It's like, it's still sport at the end of the day.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
Competition is going to breed this.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I think overall it's just such an exciting time.
What makes her so special, and why do you think her coming into WNBA is going to make a change for the industry in WNBA?
I think there's been multiple things. She's a generational talent. She is a very, very good basketball player. She plays the game similar to Steph Curry, and I think that that's really exciting for people to see this, 6-foot white girl scoring like 30 plus points, shooting from so far back, but not being the most athletic person. And so it's relatable in a sense. So it's like when Steph Curry started doing these things, these kids who were, 5'3", whatever, like, wait, I could do that. I don't have to be 7-foot Shaq to be a superstar in the NBA. It's relatable in a sense.
Okay.
She was also at Iowa, which is a smaller school. It's not, a UConn, a South Carolina, a Duke. It's Iowa. Did we ever talk about Iowa women's basketball before Caitlin Clark? No. So she elevated her team and her players to the point where they were in the Final Four the last 2 years, in the national championship game this year. And there was also rivalries surrounding it, which created a lot of storylines. And so I think it's a mix of things, but number one, the foundation to all of it is that she's a fantastic basketball player. And she puts up numbers, and it's undeniable talent that we haven't seen, and we especially haven't seen in this generation of social media where things can go viral, people can pick up steam, everybody can talk to one another about it. It's not just like you're tuning into SportsCenter every night and that's how you're catching, which is how we saw when Diana Taurasi played. That's how we heard about her. It wasn't, on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and those things.
Gotcha.
That's why I think the hype is around Caitlin. But I don't know if there's anything I missed.
No, I think I agree. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions I would say about like Steph or Caitlin Clark, like it looks easy because it's not the athleticism of dunking, as you mentioned, or just like being tall. But to make the shots they're making, like these are very, very low probability shots that we're talking about here. That
she's landing them every single time.
You can shoot the ball. You can try to shoot from half court.
Yeah.
You're not going to make them in the same rate that Steph.
So wait. So she's making it from half court.
Oh,
she's like a couple steps in front. Yeah, she's shooting logo threes, shooting step back logo threes. That's what I'm saying. She's really good.
She's really good. Shooting everywhere, bro.
Okay. Well, that's definitely I feel like that's like the conversation we had, a couple episodes ago about lowering the hoop, right, to make it more exciting. That's how I looked at it as a casual. But if you have someone who's coming in and making shots that nobody's really making or even attempting, I think it brings way more eyeballs to see the spectacle of like, who's this chick from Iowa? She's making shots that men don't even try to make, and she's making it. I can see what people are getting excited about for WNBA.
Yeah, I mean, record viewership we're talking about here with the WNBA draft, where it never even registered, I want to say, over 1 million views. And this one did well over 2 million.
Oh, wow.
Like shattered.
Double.
Not even close.
Right.
I think it was more like, it might have been quadruple.
Wow. Well, like you said.
And in the national championship game, there were, I think, 18.6 million viewers who tuned into the women's national championship game.
Shattered that too. Wow.
Yeah.
Shattered that too.
Well, like you said, the men's NBA has been around for 78 years. And then women's WNBA has been around for what?
26.
26.
Yeah.
So give it another 20 years. I know it's a long time past our lifetime. The money's going to double. The viewership's going to get more,
Oh, the money's rolling in right now.
Yeah.
Like WNBA in terms of coverage, whatever the case may be. I'm sure, of course, as you know, like that's the place to be right now. I don't think there's a hotter league right now domestically in North America than the WNBA.
Yeah.
I guess professionally, I should say, because you could obviously make a case for women's college basketball. But in terms of professional leagues, the WNBA right now is the hottest thing going.
And I think it's a great thing, too. There were talks in the past like, the WNBA season should be at the same time as the NBA season. They should run double headers just to almost like force fans to watch them.
Because it was like a varsity type of like
it
high
was like
school
make
mindset.
them kind of a JV varsity situation. But I think we're proving everybody wrong in the fact that if you just take a step back, let it breathe, these stars are here. The women's game is not the same as the men's game, but doesn't have to be exciting.
Yeah.
And having their season during the summer when you have off season for basketball, when you have off season for football, there's not that much going on is honestly the perfect time.
I agree.
So,
'cause, I think people who love basketball aren't going to tune into golf, where it's totally a different pace.
Yeah.
If you go to NBA to WNBA after the NBA season's over, it's a great transition. Then right back into football season, NBA, WNBA, football. It's a good cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not her in that draft. I mean, you got Cardoso and Angel Reese
playing together, which is crazy.
It's insane. Two rivals in college basketball now playing on the same team, which is going to make the Chicago Sky so much more fascinating to watch.
You have Cameron Brink in LA, which is a perfect fit for her.
It's incredible for her.
Yeah.
And who's it? Rikeya Jackson as well is going with her as well. She's going to be fun. She was dripped out with the Cartiers. You can tell she's from Detroit. Brought an outfit change, like bringing that swag, that drip that I'm sure LA will eat up as well. Like it just, from top to bottom, this draft was just so much fun to watch. And there's so much talent that you could see that continues to come up. The only unfortunate thing is, and something that obviously the WNBA is trying to work on, it's only 144 players. Like we're getting to a space now where expansion is not only just a thought, it's a reality. The Bay Area coming in the fold now with the WNBA, and I mean, that brings in an odd number of teams. And you saw right before the WNBA draft, there's talks of adding other teams in different cities. I'm curious for you, is there like a space that you would like to see a city return back into? Because I grew up in Dallas, and I remember the W when it started. And I hate to cope. I've already vented out how much I hate Houston. But knowing how much the Houston Comets mean to the WNBA, it meant to me watching them as a child with Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, just an unbelievable dominant team that started the league, winning 4 straight titles. It is an absolute abomination that this team does not exist anymore.
We had a
I
team
hope
in
they come back.
Cleveland too,
Yeah.
which it's like, oh, I know. I'm
What were they
from
called again? The
Rockets?
Cleveland Rock or something like that. Yeah, Rockets.
Was it Rockets or Rockers?
I think it was Rockers.
Rockers.
Yeah, I think it was Rockers.
Okay, yeah.
I just remember the guitar.
Yeah. Well, the courtside seats were so inexpensive. Like we would go sit courtside at these games, as they were like $30 or something.
Yeah.
They were so cheap. And I remember doing that as a kid, going and watching the WNBA there. But I don't know if Ohio's the place, because I think that they need to get into these bigger cities first. But I do think
Iowa kind of gives you an example though of like maybe some of these. Like Connecticut Sun have done an absolutely great job with their fan base.
Fair.
And it's an incredible experience.
Fair, but I do think there's a little bit of a celebrity media element that they still need. So yes, you would have the fans riding behind it, but I still think we need a little bit of spectacle of getting certain people to these games to show off on social media, on television. Oh, look, this person was there. This person shares it on their Instagram. And so the bigger cities to me make a little bit more sense. But I think after this season, seeing that the revenue that is being brought in might double, triple, we don't know, then it's going to be a no-brainer that it expands. You know what I mean? And so again, back to it's 26 years old. It's going to grow. It's right here. It's right here.
It is here.
So,
and it's a great conversation to be having because a decade ago, I mean, we're seeing teams folding, not making money. We're wondering if this league can survive. And not only is it surviving, it is thriving in a way that will be incredibly inspirational for the next generation that gets to witness this and inspire for something greater than the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses that we see today.
Yeah, they are going to, unfortunately, like walk so the next gen can run. But that's legacy. When we talk about legacy, that's legacy.
That's a legacy. That's a legacy. That's a legacy I can get behind. Okay, if you're debating Game 5 of Magic Cavs, get the hell out of my mentions. That's an actual legacy.
Yeah.
That's trailblazing.
If you elevate everyone's salary, that's legacy.
That's legacy. Okay, not winning Game 2 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Get out of here with that. Well, that wraps it up here for Run It Up.